Okay, welcome Pankaj to Namma Bengaluru
Thank you,
and
sir.
the Cocktail Club podcast with Cocktail Kompany. I don't think the industry needs your introduction, but I'll still introduce you to our listeners.
Okay.
So Pankaj is the founder of Short Story Spirits, Countertop, and also Jerry's Cocktails,
Yeah.
as well as you are the Apac chair of Tales of the Cocktail,
That's correct.
right? Okay, cool. So
That's a shitty introduction, man.
Oh, is it?
I'm just
Why don't you introduce yourself?
No, well, I'm just joking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the intent of this podcast is to have a conversation about cocktails, about the food and beverage landscape in our
Yeah.
country, bartending, of course, which is very dear to my heart and
Yeah.
yours, I
Both
guess.
of us,
Both of
100%.
us. So let me start with the first question.
Damn, you made a list.
Yeah, I did.
I'm going, guys.
So, with your extensive experience in the F&B industry, could
Yeah.
you share some highlights of your journey and aspects of the industry that have kept you engaged over the years?
Okay, so I've been in the industry for almost a decade and a half now, and I think I'm very fortunate to have kind of entered into this space when we were on the rise when it came to F&B
Right.
completely. When it came to specifically how spirits were treated in India, how bars started growing. So I started my journey as a management trainee for the Taj,
Okay.
and I worked at this hotel called the Taj Mansingh. And my first posting as a bar manager back in the day was this bar called Rick's. Now,
Wow.
Rick's has got this historic importance in the food and beverage for the country, at least the cocktail culture of the country, I believe, because they opened in 2001, and they were one of the first bars which really focused on cocktail programs in a hotel bar in 2001, right?
Wow, okay.
And I joined Rick's, a decade later as a manager, and by then it had already kind of come down its trajectory when it came to the popularity of the space.
Okay.
And the task I was tasked to do was to bring Rick's back up to speed, and I failed miserably. Right? So
Okay.
I was hitting a brick wall. 23-year-old me did not know how to run a bar. But year two, with all that experience, I still remember I used to call my guests every second day,
Okay.
saying that, oh, you have to come on Thursday, you have to come on Friday, it's going to be packed.
Right.
I have zero reservations, right? But I used to make that call to like 30 people. 20 of them show up with 2 people each. That's 60 people in the bar.
Wow.
My math
This is in
pretty wrong.
2011.
2012.
12,
11, 12,
okay.
yeah. So year two, I think I really, after calling them again and again, like people coming in on my calls saying that the place is going to be packed, I think that was the first time I realized that, okay, why is marketing a place so important, right?
Right.
And once they saw the place every 2 to 3 weeks in this trajectory of number of people in, they realized that, okay, that's a great place to go and have a drink at.
Okay.
So for me, that's I think one of my in my entire career, Rick's still holds a place very true to my heart and very close to my heart. And fortunately, I got to redo the program recently after 13 years
Oh,
after
wow.
leaving it. But yeah, after Rick's, I started a company called Barback Collective. It was a collective of three iconic people and me. So Anand, who now is the founder for Now Spirits,
Now
the
Spirits,
Greater Than.
right.
Bose Arijit, who was by then, that time he was at 28 Hong Kong Street in Singapore, and now he has just opened Spirit Forward. He's my partner with Countertop as well when we built it together, and Weber, who set up Perch Wine and Coffee Bar. So I was setting up Barback Collective, also opening a cocktail room called Hoots. That was my first introduction into working with very fine ingredients and
Right.
elevating a cocktail program to a proper level. And I did a bunch of things at the same time. So I'm trying to figure, and also became the Monkey Shoulder ambassador for the country. And I think one of the highlights when you asked Monkey Shoulder was one of the biggest highlights that I had as an ambassador. I could build a lot of great relationships who I call friends today because of Monkey, because I got to travel across the world, met a lot of interesting people.
Right.
And in India, I could create. The brand kind of was new. It's 2015 when I started off with Monkey, and they just launched. It was a 40 case brand in India, and they showed me what the global team was trying to do with Monkey Shoulder as
Right.
a Scotch, and they said just have fun with it. And when
Correct.
someone tells me like have fun with it, I just had fun with it, right, for
Yeah.
like 5 years. And recently, in 2021 during COVID, 2020 after the first wave of COVID, we shut shop. I lock, stock and barrel left Delhi, where I spent 12, 13 years of my life, and decided to open a bar called Tesouro.
Right.
And we opened that. We ran it, made it to number 4 in Asia. I think one of the biggest highlights
yeah.
for sure.
I love that part.
And then shut it down. So that's
That's-
still
is-
painful. But then, there's this interesting opportunity to build a new liquid. And, I spoke to the founders of Third Eye Distillery, Rahul, Sakshi, and Vidur. I met them in Singapore. We were drinking, getting smashed, doing party bus, and doing all the jazz. And I remember in 2017 or 18, I don't remember, first year of Stranger and Sons launched in Singapore. Rahul and Sakshi and Vidur were having a chat, and they asked me this question. So, what is your go-to white spirit in your speedry, right? And I just realized that we are so dependent on international spirits,
Right.
international brands, and there was nothing from India which I could kind of point fingers and say that, oh, I would pour that in my well, and I
Yeah.
can trust that in my. And they left with that thought, inception, like that thought seeded in my head, saying that shit, we don't have a good go-to spirit from India, right? And obviously, gin had taken its journey with Greater Than and Stranger and 300 other brands after that. But the other two white spirits were never given the due respect or the due importance. We were still banking on, your brand, and also vodka and, other brands like that. And when the opportunity they came and said that, hey, you want to build it together? I'm like, let's do it, right? And
Right.
and that's how I ended up becoming the guy behind Short
it's a
Story.
Short Story.
We launched a vodka, gin, and a rum, and it's been around for a year, and yeah, can't complain, man. It's super nice. I think these are the few highlights I would say.
Right. All right. I would also like to delve into your past before Rex, right? I know you're from Kerala.
Yeah.
I'm also South Indian.
Yes.
Come from a conservative family.
Okay.
Right?
Is that how you do it? Like, like hard.
Yeah. Okay.
We should have a drink. Actually.
We should. Shall we make drink
No,
and
man,
start
it's too
the-
early.
Okay, it's too early.
3 in the
Okay.
morning. I'm sorry. All right.
Okay. But what made you get into hotel management, or did you know that you're going to get into bartending? Or
I've not really spoken about this.
yeah,
It's
I know that.
interesting.
That's why I'm asking you that question.
So I was a very studious kid in school.
Okay.
Right? I was that front bencher, always 90 percentile. But firstborn of the family, right? So nobody really gave a fuck about it.
Right.
Sorry, not a boost. Okay. All right. So and I was this very, very studious kid, and I was like, okay, 10th standard. I mean, we come from a very small middle class family, and I told my dad that if I do well, I want to go to the Taj as a treat.
Right.
So 10th, I secured a 89 percentile for board exams, and my dad took me to the Taj Bubble Cafe in Marine Drive. We used to call
Okay.
it Marine Drive
Okay.
in Kerala, right? But it's fun. But Marine Drive Bubble Cafe, first time I've stepped into a 5-star hotel, and I'm like blown away, right? I'm like, holy shit! People are wearing jackets and a tie, and proper what do you call it?
You like the glamour.
Lapel. Yeah, I mean, this guy was like,
Yeah.
who was, the servers are all in whites, and I ordered a coffee, and it's
Okay.
$400 coffee, right? So we're sitting and having the coffee, and so the manager walks up to us, and he's starting this conversation with us, and he's so well spoken, and I'm like, fuck, he can speak really well, and his hands folded, very professional, very elegant. And he was just talking to me about, oh, how come you're here and what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, no, I just got 89% in the board, so my dad is treating me for a coffee. The entire interaction left a lasting impression for me, right?
Wow.
I'm like, wow, this is such a cool profession to be associated with. And I think 10th, 15-year-old me decided, okay, this is what I want to do. Little did I know
Yeah.
what hotel management was all about. And I jumped right in, man. I did commerce for my 12th standard, and my goal was very clear. I wanted to be in hotel school. Did really well for even my 12th. And a lot of people, after my results came out, and I'm like in the top, whatever, a lot of marks, it doesn't matter
Right,
any of
yeah.
it. And then I said, I'm joining hotel management. My entire extended family was like, बावर्ची बनने जा रहे हो क्या? No, but I think nobody knew about that field the
Right.
way in Kerala specifically. I think it was not a known or very popular profession. Everyone wanted to be a doctor or an engineer, and all of a
Right,
sudden this
right.
guy who's done fairly well in his studies is saying that I'm going to do hotel management. And When I took it on, I knew that is what I wanted to do, and
But I'm sure your family is really proud of
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah. Now they speak about. Yeah, I like going back home.
Okay, cool. So that let's move to the next question. What I
Yeah.
have is so what has your journey been like with Countertop? You guys are up to some fun stuff. Tell us more about what helped you build that
So
narrative.
I think Countertop obviously came in because of the experience that we had with Barback Collective, right? So Barback Collective, there were these four guys who were very talented. They were doing their own respective businesses in a way. Like
Right.
so, Anand was handling setting up Now Spirits then, and Weber was handling Perch, and I was there handling Hoots and cocktail rooms and everything. Monkey Shoulder, and Bose was handling Monkey 47 and 28 Hong Kong. We felt we had a lot of time in our hands. While you're leading these verticals, you had time in our hands to do something meaningful for the industry, and that's how we started off Barback. And Countertop technically was like the faint end of Barback, and we wanted to boast, and I wanted to kind of build something which we often say as the baseline for Indian hospitality
Right,
and Indian
right.
bars. Um, and the reason why we call it the baseline is because we realize that there are some bars who are um, does exceptionally well. You are in line with international standards.
Right.
And fortunately, Bose and I, and Bose obviously lived in Singapore for some time, and I was fortunate enough to travel with Monkey to Southeast Asia quite a lot, Australia, London, Paris, and all of these places. And when you go and see the bars there, you realize that they're at a different level altogether.
Right.
And India, we were still, you had a bunch of bars which were doing extraordinarily well and doing good stuff, but there was not many bars who was, squeezing lime fresh or making
Right.
their in-house syrups or any of those, right? We
Right.
were heavily dependent on what was available to us
Correct.
and did not want to change. So I think Countertop, what we wanted was to elevate the Indian baseline when it came to bars, and we knew that there's no way we can do it if we have one bar, right?
Right.
So we had to get our tentacles into every bar across the country, and the moment you create an example out of a bar in one city, that city will thrive. And the greatest
Right.
example for us was Tesoro, right?
Tesoro, right.
Tesoro, before that in Goa, I don't think anyone really cared about cocktails. People were drinking,
Yes.
Fenny or drinks to get yourself fucked up.
Correct. Correct.
But we really pushed the boundaries when it came to cocktails and the bar scene when it came to Tesoro. And we realized that there are more and more bars around us who are
Yeah.
trying to do that same thing in a good way, right? So that
Correct.
meant that Tesoro became a great baseline, and then everything else was upgrading itself.
Yeah.
So
And also, I think in Goa, when you built Tesoro, people who came to Goa also are tourists and who were
Yeah.
ready for experimenting. They wanted to
100%.
discover
yeah,
something new.
I used to call we call Tesoro in the butthole of nowhere because it's in Kodua. Nobody travels there. Everyone
Right.
is in north.
Right.
But people made that trip every time they came
Correct.
in,
Correct.
and that's the popularity of the space, right? That's how it became very popular. And I think people also travel back with that. Oh shit! If you can get it in Goa, why can't I get it in my city?
Right.
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 So the baseline had to be lifted. We wanted more and more bars to focus on the workstations, more and more focus on the workflow that they had. What is the kind of equipments that they use, the bottles that is used to make pre-batches or
Pre-batches.
syrups or any of those,
Right.
No, branded bottles behind the station.
Correct.
When it comes to these mixers and everything. So we kind of really pushed the boundaries, not just as Tesoro, but also as Countertop, to get into venues like a Bombay Canteen and O Pedro, recently Veronica's, Izumi in Bombay, Malacca Spice, who just ran a
Yes.
25-year-old program and then decided to change it. So we kind of got into these venues and started pushing that boundary when it came to cocktail, setups and like as basic as squeezing the lime fresh for 4 hours.
Right.
As basic as that, right? Getting a block ice for the cocktails while you're serving a great whiskey. And I think that's what we did with Countertop, and I think it's really worked well for us as an organization, as well as building that baseline across the country. And you have,
Right.
to put it nicely or bluntly or however you call it, we wanted to build bars that we could go and drink at.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what Countertop was all about.
All right. So,
Yeah.
so you have so much global knowledge on the evolution of alcohol. So, tell us more where this passion and knowledge comes from, and how can up and coming bartenders educate themselves?
I mean, now the world is a different ball game altogether. You have access to internet. You have an international bartender coming in every second day to your city to do a guest shift. I think for youngsters who are working in the trade, it's a great opportunity right now. Right, back in the day when you and me were bartending, to go abroad was like a big deal. Now there are 10 brands who are waiting to take you to the distillery, and, right?
Yes.
So opportunity is phenomenal now. I was fortunate because, as I mentioned, like travels because of Monkey Shoulder or because Barback was setting up a bar abroad. I mean, for me, like there are places which has really changed the way I think about beverages. Right. One was Tokyo in Japan. I think one of my favorite cocktail experiences is how they look at doing a simple highball in a completely elevated way.
Right.
Thinking about the quality of water, the Hokkaido soft water to the Ninja cut ice, which does not crack because this guy fans it to temper it.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
who does like shit like that? Right? So for me, the travels has played a major role, and it also contributes to a lot of interesting stories that I could tell people.
Right.
So what you have experienced in London at this bar, called Discounted Suit Company. It's a
Okay.
small cocktail room. Upstairs is a tailor shop, and downstairs. I love bar snacks, right? And in India, the biggest problem is we are so used to eating food with drinks,
Yes.
and it's very interesting to see now bars like Soka, for that matter,
Right.
has a very solid bar snack program, which is not like meal, but
Right.
it's something that you can. So they used to serve three things. They used to do pretzels, olives, and cheese. That's it. So when you go there,
Right.
you say get a bowl of that. So all of these small little things is something that you'll come back and say, hey, that's a cool idea.
Correct.
We should incorporate it into programs or get inspired. I won't say coffee,
Right,
but
right.
get inspired by all of this.
Yeah.
So I think travels really helped me to kind of really understand hospitality from a different lens. India, I think, is the epitome of hospitality. Nobody can beat us
Yeah,
when
correct.
it comes to hospitality.
I
right?
agree with you.
But quality of service and quality of ingredients and quality of drink programs, we were slightly on the back foot. But now I think we are also like coming at the same level, and you can see the 50 best bar list and Asia's 50. There's enough representation from India in the last 5 years than ever before. So.
It's one of the best times for the bar industry.
100%.
I feel. Right. Since you are talking about bar snacks
Yeah.
at the bar, my question to you is: how do bartenders and chefs collaborate to create a cohesive dining experience? Do you think there is ever competition or an underlying animosity between two experts collaborating, or is that mindset changing?
I think they're definitely changing. Back in the day, I knew that the chef and bartenders were the worst enemies, right? Because
yeah.
they want I remember at Rick's, the sugar syrup was made by the chef, and if he's pissed, he would squeeze 3 extra limes in that sugar syrup, right?
Or he
So
would have
things like
probably
this.
given you the gulab jamun.
Yeah, chashni, right?
Chashni.
But now it's a completely different ball game. I think chefs and bartenders should work together. And you look at all the top restaurants, right? One of my favorite examples is the Nomad Hotel. When these guys, 11 Madison Park, opened the bar at the Nomad. And they, so Leo, who is the head bartender and chef who runs, the 11 EMP, they put together a program which was so solid and together. And I think that is the way. I mean, this happened like 7-8 years back,
Right.
but that is the way we should function as a chef and a head bartender or chef and a bar owner to come together to make phenomenal stuff together, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not just a drinking experience.
Correct.
If it is not completed with the food experience,
experience.
and also the music and the vibe and all of that. So these two, the core principles of any food and beverage venues, I think it has to. You can't have a food program going completely opposite way and the drinks program going another way. So it's very important that it has to somewhere meet in the middle, because obviously there are two talented individuals
Right,
who are very anal about about their craft,
Yeah.
and they don't want to let go. They're
Yeah.
like, I know it better than you, and obviously a chef knows the food better than a bartender, and the bartender knows drinks better than the chef. So somewhere I think they all should meet halfway and build programs together. Collaborations, I see a lot of interesting collaborations happening these days, and which is a great thing. Recently, we did a Chef Gresham, who's one of my top chefs in the country, according
Right.
to me, right? So we did a program where I was making drinks, mixing drinks, and he was mixing the music
Oh, wow.
at the new pop-up that he's doing called Bandrabon.
Vanderbilt. Okay.
So things like that, I think it's very important that we understand. Okay, there is benefit and merit coming out of collaborations. Yeah, and that's what I
Okay.
feel.
Cool. So let's move to the next question.
Yeah, he's only asking questions. I can ask him questions.
Yeah, you can. Why not?
Yeah. Shit, now I
Shoot
don't have
me.
a question. Let's get a drink.
Oh yeah, let's get a drink, and I think by that time you'll probably have a question. First, I'll make a drink.
Okay, fine. All right. What are we drinking?
You're drinking the Batanga. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Midnight brekkie.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
I think the last time I had this was at Rahi when you all did a takeover of Tesouro. Oh man,
It's tasty.
that was a great night.
It's quite a popular drink now. I think people love it. Peanut butter jelly sandwich in a cocktail. What is there not to like it?
Yeah.
But this, my sir, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Super tasty.
Very
man.
easy.
Ooh, very tasty. I would. Very tasty. Yeah. So you were asking.
I have a lot of questions, but you wanted to ask me.
Oh shit! I completely forgot that.
Yeah.
Got excited about the drink. But how did you decide to move into the world of spirits and cocktails and bars and all of that jazz?
It's really funny. You wouldn't
Yeah.
believe it if I say. But anyways, my father has been in the industry for the longest time.
Oh,
He
okay.
left home at the age of 16 because he had grown a bitter gourd, which was I think 3.5 feet, and all the villagers used to come and see that, you know, my dad's name is Jagdish, and Jagdish has grown the longest bitter gourd and things like that. But his father just cut all of them and sold it, and he got upset with it. So a couple of boys from home were leaving, and he left them, and he joined as a bus boy in a small town like Udupi and then Mangalore, and then he came to Bangalore, worked in bars and restaurants. So I'd seen my dad in the industry since I was a kid, and after school I thought the best thing for me to do is hotel management, and I got into it. While I was doing hotel management, I went for an ODC, and I saw this bartender flaring. He
Yeah.
was, throwing bottles around, throwing fire from his mouth, and I got excited. Man, this is where I need to be. People are clapping, cheer.
Yeah.
That's how I got into
Damn.
bartending, that interest. And then the guy who was doing that also was running a school called Cocktails and Dreams in Bangalore.
Okay.
His name was Pradeep Andrews. And I joined the school, but I didn't complete it. But then that's how I got into
Nice.
bartending. Yeah.
But you also covered bunch of interesting. I mean, I know you as a Bacardi ambassador.
Right.
More than you. I think you kind of own that role like nobody has for that matter.
you.
Yeah. Like Bangalore. If I had to come to Bangalore, if you talk about brand ambassadors as a career, like I mean, I think we're from the same era
Yes,
of
yes.
BAs, and you kind of held the ground in Bangalore like nobody's business, man. So, how was that?
That actually came by chance. Actually, when I was in college, I used to do freelance bartending for Bacardi.
Okay.
And that was the time when they introduced mojitos to everyone. You are having a birthday party. There's a bartender who comes with a tall glass which is green below, and on the top it's written Bacardi Mojito, and the bartender is just making mojitos. I would have probably made some 5,000-6,000 mojitos during that time.
Crazy.
And I was working with a gentleman called Naveen Wazir at that time. So he walked into Farzi Cafe once and he said, there is a role like this. Would you like to take it up? I said, no, not at all. I'm hardcore into F&B operations now. I cannot do this. What is brand ambassador? I don't even know what it is. Because at that time I'd not seen, maybe I'd met a few brand ambassadors from Diageo, but I didn't know what the role entitled. Then after 2 months, I called him and said, can you tell me what this job is all about? So then he explained to me what the job is. I said, okay, let me give. And that's how I got into Bacardi. I mean, never planned. For me, it was always F&B operations. Yeah.
And now, as an entrepreneurial role, you've done bars operations and then advocacy, and now as an entrepreneur, how is it different?
I think this is my podcast now.
No. True story. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I was going with the
With
vibe,
the
but
flow,
nobody was
okay.
stopping me. Like everyone is smiling and inspired by how you lived your life.
No, we'll get to that later. How do you incorporate seasonal and local ingredients into your cocktails or probably dishes as well?
So I think very interesting topic. I love talking about seasonal ingredients. For me, a lot of people did inspire me when it came to foraging of ingredients and using them in drinks. But I always questioned the thought that okay, when you forage, your ingredient quantity is only so limited, and how do you preserve it and use it? So the first time I kind of got really inspired is Vijay from Native and Matt Wiley from then Scout.
Yes, right.
Now he runs Re in Sydney. He had come down to Goa and we had done a kind of a cocktail competition with a gin brand, and we were foraging in the wild, right, with a botanist. Learning about the ingredient now to incorporate, and we had a competition. I was hosting the competition, so I was not part of it. And I saw some unique drinks coming out of not using citrus at all. I think Krishna made a drink with like citrus leaves
Right.
and kokum, like fresh kokum to
Correct.
give the acidity. So I was like, shit, man, that's so creative, right? Uh, we started doing it as a regular feature, and when we did Tesoro, we did the foraging menu every based on the time of the year. We do like
Right.
2 series of foraging menu, and I think what really pushed me into working with seasonal ingredients is when we did Malacca Spice as a project. Right? So Malacca Spice has a farm, which is like a like a farm by the river, beautiful setting, but they grow a lot of unique ingredients there, right? So they do berries, they have some the bimli and the star fruits, which are the common ones, but they also like do black garlics and garlic and a lot of unique ingredients which I found
Right.
for the first time. The problem was that Ilvika, who heads the place, she will reach out and say, when we were putting the program together, she'll say, hey, we are getting a bumper crop of chiku, 500 kgs.
Oh, wow.
Right? And you're like, okay, what do you do with 500 kgs of chiku, right? Or we are getting like 250 kgs of star fruit, right? So that is when you're thinking about okay, how to utilize that, and they do it so flawlessly for the food, right? You will
Right.
get ingredients which are only from their farm, which is used in their cuisine so well, right?
Right.
So we wanted to do a program which was similar to that when it comes to drinks, and that is when I started really working with seasonal ingredients. But preserving them is a bigger tactic. So either moving into cordials or moving it into something which can last for a long duration of time. One of my favorite moment is we had this sexy crop of spearmints, like super fresh spearmints in Goa, which we found small parcel of land. But he's like, if you keep it for one more day, it will start wilting, right? So you have to harvest it today and you have to process it today. And I'm doing a foraging menu 3 weeks from now, right?
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
like, shit, if I keep
Yeah.
this mint in the fridge, like how we store it, it's not going to last 3 weeks.
Correct.
So I think a lot of technique development that we have done for Countertop basically came out of we have no other way than to process this the fastest possible way. So that spearmint, what we essentially did was use nitrogen and freeze it and powder it and use that powder to do a rapid
Oh,
infusion.
like freeze drying.
Freeze
Yeah.
drying technique, right? And that lasted for like 6 months because
Wow.
it is if you can put it in the freezer in a box and you can just use how much ever you want in the nitro blender, and you have this unique fresh spearmint which is not available in the season anymore, but available for you to use. So I think what we did was to identify ingredients and how to utilize the maximum out of it, even if it is fresh. Understand, using seasonal ingredients during the season is fun, but how to kind of expand that for a longer duration of time and how to
Right.
process it effectively. But yeah, seasonal ingredients is a way to go, and I think it is amazing what is available to you fresh. Use it effectively in cocktails is definitely a way to go.
Okay, great. I think I want to touch upon your duration in Monkey Shoulder as a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
You were hosting UBC.
Yeah.
We loved the way you used to bring a console and play music and pump it. Oh yeah, I remember that, right?
Yeah.
That was.
I look at that videos and I'm like, what the hell was I doing, man? Like, this literally.
No, I looked up to. I mean, as an ambassador for me with Bacardi,
Yeah.
it was educating about the brand, about making the drinks right. But Monkey Shoulder was a completely different way of.
I was like a
yeah.
wound up monkey. It was fun. I think Monkey Shoulder was so much fun because
Right.
I think I got a lot of free hand when it came to the brand because the brand was still building in India.
Right.
So the marketing head and the brand manager were like, just have fun.
Hmm.
Right? What do you
Right.
want to do? I said, I want to fly in 20 bartenders to Ooty.
OT.
And they're like, oh, that's going to cost a lot of money. But you said have fun.
Yeah.
So UBC was fantastic. I think it was one of the most. I love that competition. Right now, I work with obviously. I've worked with many brands, and
Right.
obviously Bacardi did a fantastic competition as well. But UBC was testing your skill just based on your skill set.
Correct.
As a
correct.
bartender.
Skills pays bills.
Yeah, skills pays the bill. I mean, if the entire line is testing the skills that pays the bills,
Bills,
but you
okay.
only say skills pay bills.
Skills.
But that was a very, very cool competition, man. And I got to run 4 of it across. Obviously missed the last one. And obviously, because you have a lot of bartenders coming in and they know that you're being tested on
Right.
what they know, I wanted it to be a very high energy competition, right? I did not want it to be like, oh, straight serve. Oh, I found this beautiful girl and then she
Yeah.
was wearing a red dress, so I decided to call my drink Red Riding Hood. Whatever, That's
Right,
how
right.
competitions happen. This backstory, I mean, one of my favorite is like, I made this drink because of Don Facundo Bacardi. Turn left. Everyone had a Bacardi. Everyone in
Everyone.
GLCC
Yeah.
Bacardi Legacy competition had a Don Facundo
Facundo
story.
story, yeah.
Which is great. I
Right.
mean, I love it. But then it became repetitive.
Right.
If you're sitting in the panel, I'm sure the judges were going like, another.
Inspired from
Inspired from-
Facundo Bacardi.
Yeah.
No, but from a bartender standpoint, I mean, there are a lot of aspiring bartenders who want to come into the industry right now.
Yeah.
Some of them with maybe just few months or few years of experience feel that if I'm into a competition, then I
Yeah.
get recognition and things like that. But how should an aspiring bartender look at competition? I'm not saying one particular
Yeah.
UBC or
Yeah, any competition.
any competition for that
I think
matter.
competition is a great platform, right? It is, you are put into a pedestal which you would have not reached in a very short period of time if you are ready for that confidence that you have in yourself to showcase what you can showcase, right? As a platform, it is phenomenal. But I think where the young bartenders fail while jumping on a competition is not getting enough experience under their belt and not getting enough knowledge under their belt to showcase yourself in a competition. A lot of people, as you said, like 6 months and they want to be in a competition and they want to get that
Right.
recognition.
Right.
But you will do a performance, but it will not be the performance of your lifetime.
Right.
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 So I think it's very important that they learn, work with great mentors, learn with great people, polish their skill set, have that level of confidence and aura about themselves while presenting, and then apply for a competition. So that's a year and a half of just practicing to be a better bartender, a better version of a bartender that you can be, and then be a part of the competition so that you at least are prepared to showcase the best that you can
Yes,
offer.
sir. And don't get disheartened if you don't win
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
only
I mean,
one
it is-
winner at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is not the competition. I think a lot of people do get disheartened and they say, no, yes, a wiki conversation. But that's in every competition, right? But it's very important that that experience that you get and the friendships that you make in that 10 days that you spend with, or 3 days that you spend with a group of people who are like-minded, that serves you for a lifetime, man. I think is very important. I mean, I have in 2011 or 2012 or 2013, I don't remember, but I participated for a Indian Sommelier Championship, right?
Right.
And the people who were there in the finals, right, are iconic sommeliers of the country today and abroad, right? And they are friends with me after so many years. I won the competition, that's why I'm speaking so highly about it. But they're all so close, and whenever we catch up, we open a bottle of wine and we chill, right? So I think that's very important, that how you take the best out of it. And competitions, as I told you, is a phenomenal platform for a young aspiring bartender. And I've seen a lot of them winning competitions and getting like a 50%, 100% hike in their jobs and careers and all of that jazz. But also to understand that, have I polished myself enough to leave the job and take the next role? Because there will be brands and bars waiting at your doorstep any day because you've won a competition. But how you really utilizing the best out of it is something that you have to really think about as a bartender.
Right. And another interesting conversation which I would like to pick on is, I have also probably been part of that, where as an ambassador or probably a person who's running or operating a bar, you tend to drink a lot, right? I wouldn't say that your job is hazardous, but there is this concept about mindful drinking,
Yeah.
right? Maybe I understand it in a different way or you want, but there is a lot of misunderstanding and misconception about mindful drinking. If bartenders are going to take mindful drinking to the next level or probably understand what it is, how do you think they should look at it? Or
I mean, it is already happening, right?
right,
When I was running Tesoro, this is also a problem, right? When you're running a bar, you will meet a guest and they will say, "Hey, have a drink with us."
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And most of the 9 of the 10 times you can't say no,
no,
because
correct,
they're offering, and you're not a bartender. You've graduated to becoming the owner or the bar manager or whatever that is. I think bartenders should not drink at work
at
at
work
all.
at all.
Right? That is my basic principle. Is if you're behind the bar, you cannot drink. But there are times when, I mean, having said that, there are times when at Tesoro we have also like poured shots for the bartenders. We have opened a bottle of champagne
Yeah.
every second day. That moderation is very important, and how many times you do it in a week is very important.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not planned, but then you know that every day you're not having a shot. Every day you're not. But the reason why I say it's already happening is that you see the legendary bartenders in the world right now.
Yeah.
Jay Khan, who owns and runs Koa and the Savory Project. Jay Khan is a true ambassador when it came to healthy hospitality living, right? He doesn't drink. He's up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. He
Right.
runs fucking 100 kilometers. I don't know how he does it. And he's showing a set of bartenders in Hong Kong to be like him,
Wow.
right? Which is
That's very
amazing.
inspiring.
I have been inspired by Jay. The last time I met him for 50 Best, I think he met me and he said, I think, I was telling him that, hey, I see it every morning. You've done like 40 kilometers, 30 kilometers, cycling 150 kilometers. He just did a 100-kilometer run. And I'm like, how do you do it? He's like, you just set your mind to it and you can
Yeah.
do it. I'm sure you can also do it. And next time I see you, I'm sure that you will also have, taken care of your health. Obviously, I did that and I'm back to where I was before. But Jay and another person is Agung, who runs Penicillin and Dead and Co. I think. Okay.
Yeah.
So Penicillin, right? Agung, who was doing shots with me in Hong Kong the last time I met him, bourbons every night, and this time at 6 o'clock he's like, "Do you want to go for a run in Singapore?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm so drunk and hungover. How are you up?" He's like, "No, because I did not drink." He was just mixing ginger ale and having a sip through and through.
Oh, wow.
So bartenders who are at that level are really looking at health and hospitality and health together. Even Stranger does a healthy hospo program with Tim Judge, who was a Diageo global ambassador,
Right.
and now he is running this healthy hospitality programming as a wellness and living for bartenders. And I think we should also get, I would say inspired, but I would say look at them and say that hey, there is a better way of doing this,
right.
And it's
Like if probably when we go to Singapore or even bars in Bangkok, if they know that you're from the industry, they usually offer a shot
yeah.
at the bar, and they get all the bartenders together and have a shot
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
And if there is some big event happening in the city, then I think they will end up probably having 5-6
100%.
shots. But the next day, I think they also balance their
Correct.
work life
But you
as
can't
well
do
as
that every day. That's why I said I think you can have that one-off evenings where you're having a ball of a time.
Right,
But number one is if you are behind the bar, and I tell this often to a lot of young bartenders, you are never off job. If you're a bartender,
Right.
just because you're not drinking, you can't say that, oh, it was my off day, so I drank a little too much. You are always being seen.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you. You go to another bar, people know you, and you cannot get drunk and shit-faced and fall on the floor.
And please do not ride or drive after
Exactly,
you're drunk.
100% def. That's the given. But even like not being able to handle yourself at a bar where your friends are working at is
Right.
equally bad for a bartender to be in a situation of, right? So you are never. I tell my team the same thing. You are never off work. You
Right.
are representing your bar. For me, it's like you're representing Countertop, 7-Eleven. I mean, 24/7, right?
Yeah.
7-Eleven is a nice sandwich place in
that's it.
Singapore. But you are always representing your venue, you're representing yourself, and you cannot not misbehave, but you cannot get drunk and get shit-faced and talk shit and fall on the floor.
Right, right.
Like there are times where I'm sure we both also like when we are out and about, and there are times where we had a few extra drinks.
Yes.
I just walk home, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if I'm in Singapore and I've had, like, we go to any bar and they will do a shot and then it's a shot and a drink at every bar, 10 bars, that's like shit tons of drinks. the moment I know that, okay, I think I'm slurring and I'm not in control of myself, I'll just disappear from there. There are times where people are like, where the fuck did he go? This guy. And I'm walking like 3 kilometers to the hotel. It's like a body clock. My map is on and I'm just walking. Dying, but I don't want anyone to see me like sloshed or, And I think a lot of young bartenders should take this as a very important moderation, number one. But when you do have that one extra day of extra drinks, you should know when to bounce. Yeah.
Got it. So I think I'll come to this probably the last question, I think.
Yeah.
If your life was a cocktail shaker, and what would you put in it to make a great cocktail of life?
Oh, shit! I was going to say, if your life was a cocktail shaker, and I thought, could it be a Corico? Could it be? I think I don't know how to answer that question in a way, but I think work-life balance is for me epitome. Right. So I don't know how to answer the ingredient bit of it.
Right.
But I think.
I mean, so let's say, what are your 3 priorities, maybe?
I think for me, family is number one.
Okay.
Work, like doing work the right way, and having time off for yourself. Thirdly, for myself, not family, not work, but for myself. And I really live by it. I love my Sundays. I travel quite a lot, right? I'm with Countertop and Short Story. I have to travel. There's no option. And I've been doing it for so many years now. From 2015, I've been on the road literally. So I'm used to that. Okay, I'm not around at home for 10, 14, 15 days. But when I'm at home on a Sunday, the world can go upside down. The bar can catch fire and burn to ground, but you will not get me on a work call. You will not get me on anything related to work. I completely switch off from work and I'm all in home.
So I don't call him on a Sunday.
Definitely not. I'll not answer. So I think it's very important. Like now, as bartenders who are growing, and it's a very difficult life that we have chosen. It looks glamorous, but it's hard work, a lot of long hours. But you should never lose sight of who you are, what you do as a person. You should never lose sight of that, is what I would say.
Right.
Other than work, because you get consumed so much with work. You going out on a Sunday on your off day or a Monday on your off day. You're so consumed with, again, meeting the same guests or consumers or bartenders, again, having the same experience in a different bar. So I think it's very important that you get a hang of, okay, on one day of the week,
you're going to switch off.
Yeah, I'm just going to
100% to yourself.
And family.
And family, right.
So, I don't know about the cocktail shaker, but I would be a 2-tin shaker.
A 2-tin shaker.
Difficult to open.
That's maybe China-made Corico.
Oh, shots fired. Okay.
Okay. Maybe another question. So what do you think is going to be the emerging trend in terms of the cocktail landscape or the bar in our country?
I mean, it's great to see the bar culture. Now we are moving slowly towards smaller format drinking spaces, right? We have seen everything.
Not in Bangalore. Bangalore is from a koi pond to waterfall. I think they're going to bring Nandi Hills.
Guy, man, Pranav Mathur, where he says that I want to see the sea. But sir, we are in Bangalore. That we'll figure out. So Bangalore, it's massive format. But look at the last.
But coming back to what you were saying.
But look at the last 3 venues, right? Smaller format drinking establishments is becoming, I think, and even in Bangalore, you have Spirit Forward now, which is 50, 60 covers. You have Soka, which is a 30 cover, and you have ZLB, which is again a smaller space. And I think it's trends. I would say there's a lot of catching up that we are doing when it comes to cocktail trends, and it is great because now your baseline has gone from squeezing lime 4 hours before to using like every bar has got a milk wash cocktail.
Right. Yeah.
But what we need to understand as an industry right now is that having a milk wash cocktail is also not the end all and me all. And if you have to be a cocktail bar, you have to have a milk wash. Right. You can have great drinks.
I think Max Swenning is doing a fantastic job with 3 Sheets in London.
Exactly. Right.
No fancy equipment.
No fancy equipment.
Just clean.
And a lot of bartenders see this happening internationally, saying that, I want a rotovap, I want a centrifuge, I want this and that. Right. But you don't need them. I mean, yes, your life will become a little more difficult because you have to use some age-old techniques to do a washing or a fat wash or but you can extract flavors in so many multiple ways. And I think more and more bars should look at not finding the easy way out to find rotovap or a centrifuge, but how can I effectively use it? If to clarify juice, how do you use agar?
I don't know if you know this. Two most important tools which we use in our bar, maybe equipment, comes from Kerala. Mr. Butler and Sujata Juicer.
Mr. Butler was a rage man.
Yeah.
When I was a child, 10 years old, is the first time I've seen a Mr. Butler soda maker. Mr. Butler was only existing in Kerala before. Right? This is 20 years back, I think. I don't want to give away my age. Okay, but 25 years back. But I've seen that from like a red and white box soda maker, and every time the carbonation hits, it used to hit this massive sound.
Yeah.
And my dad, he used to pour this whiskey in the evening or a brandy in the evening, and I can hear like from the gate outside my house that okay, he's pressing the soda maker button.
Yeah.
But from there, it has become very fancy now.
Very fancy. But I remember in my childhood also that, I mean, we were at a low middle class family then, but if we go to some middle class family or a little upper middle class family, you know, they make fresh soda.
Juices also,
juice.
bro.
It was, till then it was only sharbat, I mean lemon sharbat.
Tang and then
Tang, yeah.
Or rasna. For
Rasna,
matter. Or that sharbat, that Narnari
sharbat.
syrup.
Yeah.
We used to do that. But yeah, man, like fun chat.
Thank you for joining us in
Thank you so much for having me.
Cocktail Club podcast with Cocktail Kompany. This is our first episode and so
Damn.
glad to have you. Yeah.
Super. Thank you. Thank you, Avin. Thank you for the great drink.
Yeah.
Patanga
You haven't finished. I finished yours.
You are.
I was busy listening to you.
I was thinking about, talking about the moderation part.
Cut!